Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on a Monday afternoon or evening now. It's dark outside with the time change, 6 o'clock, and it's just pitch dark as I look outside my kitchen window. Boy, I tell you what a game for the UTSA Roadrunners on Saturday up in El Paso at the Sun Bowl. They beat UTEP 44-23. Game, set, match. I mean, just total domination. And I tell you what, I think the ace was served up on the second play of the game with a 75-yard touchdown run, and you got it to break point at halftime. Coach, I'm trying to come up with every tennis term I can to talk about your win over UTEP as we're joined by Jeff Traylor, the head football coach of the UTSA Roadrunners. Coach, that was a heck of a trip up to El Paso.
Yeah, fun night. Great crowd, great environment, national TV, beautiful evening. Our fan base showed up. They were loud. They were early. They stayed into the game the entire time. They stayed late after the game. They were great for our kids. So very grateful for our fans to travel to El Paso.
And you put on a show. Now, leading up to it, there was a lot of, predictions. This was going to be a close game, maybe one of the tougher tests that you guys have faced in conference play. And you took it to them early. I'm curious because as I watch college football all around, obviously I do a lot of high school football, that. And even in the NFL yesterday, the Cowboys came out flat. How does your team come out fired up, ready to go, game in and game out?
It's our single-digit guys, our leadership council, the way they practice. I mean, if you were to come watch us practice, Jason, I promise you in the morning when we get done with stretch, there'll be more juice going around that practice field. Those kids love to practice football. They hear me say it a million times, practice makes permanent. Perfect practice makes perfect. And we've never played a perfect game, but I would challenge anybody. I've been the head coach here now, 12 games last year. Now we're at 21 games, and all 21 games, even though we might not have executed perfectly, our effort has been perfect in every single one of those ball games.
And, the buy-in from your messaging as the head coach throughout your assistants, and you talk about your leadership council all the time about not eating the cheese, and you guys continue to climb up in the rankings, but you go out and you dominate. You back up everything that you're saying, and at some point, that national respect is going to be there. I know you had a lot of fun on Twitter the other day with the USTA comment from the playoff committee guy, but I think there's some truth there. You guys still have to build that national respect.
Well, we're new, and I understand it. That guy's got a lot going on. He's head of the committee, and he's AD at Iowa. He's got a lot going, right? So I was just trying to find a way to make sure our kids practice hard. I don't think that stuff matters on Saturday, like if you talk about that before the game. But I think if you can get your players to practice harder, they're going to play better on Saturday. And it's just a little extra motivation. And my video guy, Alex DiCasio, we had a little fun that night. And we had that's as much fun as I've had in a while. So I can't do anything on a computer, Jason, so I don't take any credit for it. Kind of like the way our team is out there. They're my ideas, but my coaches and my players pull off all my ideas for me.
Well, and again, but it works. But there was some truth there. But ultimately, and again, you find whatever you can. Do you expect to see your name on the list tomorrow night on the next show? And if not, how do you react to that to tell your players that, all right, here we go again. It got another week. We're going to have to go out there and prove it on the football field.
I can tell San Antonio's changing just because my wife, she's never kept up with anything when it comes to sports. I think her whole job is to keep me humble at all times, so she doesn't know anything in the world. But even today, she's like, baby, you moved up in the AP, the coaches poll. I think Tuesday nights when the college playoff poll comes out, I'm like, Carrie, I don't care. I don't want to know. I won't know. I really feel strongly about that. My job is to coach my team. Media people, that's what y'all do. Y'all are fantastic at it. And y'all are great about reminding me and letting me know. And we'll all just do our jobs. We're all fine. When I start trying to do your job and people start trying to do my job, that's when things get confused. So I know it sounds like I'm just full of bull, but I will not even have a clue what they'd say tomorrow night.
And again, I'll take your word for it, but I know a lot of fans are going to be upset, and Twitter will let you know, and other people will let you know what they say, and it certainly, I think, for a lot of fans, because I mean, we've got to be honest here, regardless of what you guys do, you're not going to get invited to that playoff party. I mean, you look at Cincinnati undefeated, and they're not even in the top 4 because it's really for the Power 5 guys, and I think we all know that. But just being on that list tells you something. But I'll tell you, Coach, being 15, and you start thinking about, I don't want to violate culture pillars here, and I'll do the push-ups, but that's more important. Where you are in the AP rankings are more important than the CFP rankings, right?
Well, let's be honest. What it's good for is our marketing department. It's good for recruiting. It's good for boosters. It's good for administration. It's just good for our city. It's just good to get excitement going. Everywhere I go in the city, everybody is birds up. I mean, it doesn't matter where I go. Everybody recognizes my big bald head or my cap on my head. It's everybody. Coach, birds up, birds up. And it's exciting for our players, and it's just exciting for everybody. And that's what to me, it does a great job of, Jason. It just gives everybody, a feeling that we've got something here. The city of San Antonio has a football team. They're all proud of it.
They are, and it's not just here in the city. I was in Dallas over the weekend. I went to the Cowboys game yesterday. Saturday night, I'm at a bar in Dallas and asked them, hey, can you put on ESPN2? And this poor guy, he didn't have a remote. He had to climb up on a ladder to go turn the channel, right? And he's wearing a UNT hat. And then he realizes I'm asking him to put on the UTSA UTEP game. And he just looked at me. I said, yeah, UTSA. And I gave him the little birds up hand signal. And he gave me a look, but he turned the channel for me, and he put that game on there. And then walking around Dallas, there was a lot of orange that was Bronco, but I saw 2 UTSA shirts and one guy in a UTSA hat at the Cowboys game.
Yeah, it's been different for me, just at the airport. Now, I can't tell you how many times people have asked me if I've coached for the Ravens, and that just hadn't happened in a while. I mean, the last 6 to 8 weeks, that the beak is getting known. Meep is out there, and that's exciting for everybody. And that's the vision Dr. Compost and President Amy had when they hired me, and I'm just glad to be a small piece of the puzzle to help this thing come to fruition so far.
And you and Coach Harbaugh look just like each other. I mean, you'd be twins.
I think
Jeff
they must think I'm an assistant coach, not the head coach.
Jeff Traylor joining us here. Let's talk about that game. I mean, second play of the game, you guys really set the tone. Sincere McCormick with the 75-yard run, but talk about those big boys up front. I mean, that hole was massive. He probably doesn't see a hole like that in practice.
Well, I think that was one of the biggest plays of the game, right? I mean, we hadn't had an open week together. This is my first time as a head college coach to even have an open week. We didn't have one last year because the LSU game got canceled. So we played straight through the season. And this year we had 8 in a row. So I think it was just really good for all of us. We looked fresh. You could tell our kids were rested. And that was a huge play. Their crowd was fantastic now. They had a great crowd, and that quieted them down pretty quick.
It certainly did. And Frank Harris, it just continues to throw the ball so well. Now, I remember watching him in high school, and when he first got to UTSA, he was a great athlete that was playing quarterback and learning the quarterback position. I got to believe there's not a throw he can't make at this point.
Even last year, he would be the first one to tell you, we really struggled at times with him throwing the football, but he just kept getting better. And I really challenged him in the offseason that we were going to throw the whole playbook at him in the spring. And there was going to be a wide open competition between him and Josh. And those two just got after it. And they're very, very good friends. And they both made each other a lot better. I mean, Frank just wasn't real healthy last week. I tease him all the time. He's as old as some of the Bible characters. And so, he does not take ever his health for granted. He's the first one on the field and he prays. When he leaves the field, he's the last one and he prays. So he understands his body. He does not ever want to take that for granted. But Josh took a lot of those reps last week in practice. And when the game came, Frank was ready to go. And like you said, Jason, he played so well. And Josh had such a great attitude. I mean, he just is Frank's biggest supporter. And that's the part of this team. Most of the time, your starters are happy. On our team, everybody supports each other. It's a tremendous, tremendous locker room. And I know the word culture is so overused, but our culture on our football team is such very much like San Antonio. It's just a great, great team atmosphere, and I'm so proud of our kids.
Well, and it's so evident, Coach, watching the game, seeing how they all react, but your social media team is fantastic in the videos that they put out. I think you tweeted too, man. You guys are having too much fun at practice, but you can see the work, but you could also see how much fun you're having. And of course, you're winning games. That's always a lot of fun. It feels like forever since we got to tailgate in the Alamodome parking lot, but we get to do that again this Saturday with an afternoon game. Nice. It seems like it's been a while, but how nice is it not to have to think about what time does the plane leave this week?
Amen. And if you know me well enough, I hate to fly, right? I drive everywhere I could. That's one of the main reasons I love San Antonio so much. I can drive to all my recruits' houses, right? I don't have to fly to go see them. So, no doubt, we're thrilled. It's going to be a beautiful afternoon Saturday. The tailgate is going to be great. I can't wait for the walk. Our kids will have a ton of juice to come back home. We hadn't been home in almost a month. So, and we're back 9-0. I mean, that's just to go on the road and beat Louisiana Tech, homecoming. Very, very packed. I mean, it wasn't completely packed, but a big, big crowd. Go to the El Paso, the Sun Bowl, where it was packed. Night game, national TV. Our kids have answered the bell. They really have. And I know the city's excited, and I guarantee they're going to show up Saturday.
Southern Miss is 1-8, 0-5 in conference play. How do you motivate guys this week to show up? And I did take what you did against Rice and use that, but how do you make sure there is no kind of letdown like, man, we've got this. This one looks like an easy win?
Well, it's the very reason we don't ever talk about winning and losing. We only compare ourselves to our own brand. And what is branding? It's when your image, who you say you are, and it's your identity and your image, when they all line up together. Well, all we ever talk about is our 2-1-0 triangle of toughness culture brand. That's the only thing we grade ourselves on. We don't grade ourselves by the score. We don't grade ourselves by the opponent. We only look at how we play, what we can control. And that's as old as, John Wooden's been doing that for 100 years. He didn't talk about winning and losing. It was always about what their product was. And our kids just believe that. They don't, it's not just words on the wall. I know I say all the time, Jason, it's words on their heart, and our kids live it.
Absolutely. Coach, you mentioned that the night game against El Paso. Last one we talked, you were worried about spending all day gearing up for that 9:15 kickoff that got pushed even a little bit later by 10, 12 minutes or whatever. What'd you guys do in the hotel all day? How'd you keep them busy and keep them focused?
It's a great question. I spent as much time on that as I did practice schedules. We decided, kids love to sleep late in the morning. Where us older guys, we like to get up and have our coffee, right? So I just pushed everything back. We didn't get there till later Friday night. I kept them up pretty late. Walkthroughs, meetings, went to the stadium, put them to bed about midnight, let them sleep till about 10 the next morning. So then there wasn't that huge gap between 10 and 6. Then we ate, a couple of times, had snacks once, a couple of walkthroughs, a couple of meetings, a couple of videos, and just let them have an hour and a half or two to themselves instead of like 6 hours to themselves. Because I know my big offensive lineman would have turned that air down to 55 and shut those curtains, and they wouldn't have woken up one time.
Coach Jeff Traylor joining us here on the Blitz. I've got to ask you a knucklehead question. As I'm reading about the Florida quarterback, Dan Mullen admitted today that their quarterback hurt his knee dancing at the team hotel the night before their game. And, of course, he didn't play. They first said he was sick, and there was all that. But the kid hurt himself dancing. I don't know if he was making a TikTok video or what. What's your biggest concern week in and week out with your players and stories like that go around that I lost my quarterback how? What's your biggest concern with stuff like that?
Just like that. Well, your biggest concern is when they're driving at night. You're always concerned about that kind of stuff. Anytime they have free time, are they going to maintain our culture pillar or get in some type of trouble that's going to, cause distractions? But like Don Pastucci, one of my right guards, was on the punt team, first protector. He's walking down our stairs. We've got him all the way done. We're ready to go, right? He twists his ankle walking down the stairs at our facility. So there's just, I had to remind myself all the time, and I say this like, I am not God, right? I cannot control everything, and I just got to turn it over. I got to let it go, because it'll keep you up all night, Jason, just worrying about just stuff that happens. To your point exactly, just crazy things that have happened. Illnesses. I had a player get food poisoning, did not play very well this weekend. One of my very best players. Y'all really couldn't tell. We kind of hit it, and we didn't play him as much. But he was sick as a dog during the game just for he ate something that was bad. Those kind of things as a coach, and you can't come out and say it, right? If I come out and say it, it's one, it's probably a violation of HIPAA. Two, it sounds like I'm making excuses. Y'all gonna be all over me for making a soft bed for my kids. So most of the time, those stories don't even come out.
It's insane. And again, whoever put stairs in your facility, that's a design flaw, is it not? I mean, you just got to have ramps everywhere you go.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Don was so embarrassed. Ankle all swollen up. He's such a good kid. But trust me, we've been busting his chops about getting injured in the facility.
No slip surface on that. I mean, just I mean, bubble wrap. There you go. I mean, I just, you hear about all that and just the little things that a head coach has to worry about and deal with on a day in and day out basis. And then you realize you're dealing with 18 to 22, 23-year-olds, and sometimes stuff just happens. It's how it goes. Southern Miss this week. I'm going to ask you an unfair question. 35,000? 40,000? What's your dream?
It'd be a violation of the culture pillar, but I to even speculate, but I would hope, right? We've gone up every week. We were almost at 30 the last time we were home, 26, 27, something like that. I know this. Sosa is going to be rocking. That band never lets me down. And the student section is going to be packed, and they're going to be rocking. And they have been fantastic. The city just keeps coming in more and more and more. I hope so, Jason. Our kids have done above and beyond. And if not, it's not. Nothing we can do about it. But I hope so for our kids' sake Saturday.
The tailgating is incredible down there. The atmosphere is fantastic. And the weather is always perfect inside the dome. Last Saturday, I was in Phoenix at the Arizona State-Washington State game. My daughter goes to ASU. They said it was 87. It felt like 115. I couldn't have appreciated the dome any more than I do than sitting at Sun Devil Stadium with the sun just beating down on me for a noon kickoff out there. The weather's perfect always inside the dome.
I couldn't agree more. I love the dome. It's great for recruiting. I'm thrilled with it. It's always 72. Our quarterbacks love it. Our receivers love it because there's no wind and there's no rain, and it's just a great place. And it's so loud in there. I mean, I know whatever our attendance was the last game, say 30, whatever it was, 28, 26, it sounds like 60. And it's just an exciting place. And I can't wait to show up there Saturday with our kids.
Absolutely. We'll be there. Tailgating's going to be fun. Coach Jeff Traylor, always appreciate the time. We'll visit next week.
Jason, thank you so much. God bless. Birds up.
Birds up for sure. We'll visit them next week when they're 10-0. I just couldn't say that to him because that would be a culture pillar violation. Our conversation with Jeff Traylor always brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue.